Right now I want to show you the RAM-HOL-TAB3 in use with an iPad, an iPad 2 and a few different cases on them. So first things first, here is the iPad 2 and the smart case, and I just want to show you by throwing that into the tab 3. First you put it in the one end and then expand the other end around the iPad. So what's happened here is the iPad sits into the end slots here perfectly, and it's got the perfect amount of width around here, so it holds in really well. But the beauty of it is all your ports are exposed on the sides. I'll just flip this around so you can see that. You can see there that all the ports there are available because it's just gripping on the corners of the iPad. Same along each end here, you can see there, and then the volume and on-off switch. So as you get this set up in the position you want, you can now turn it on and off, awake or sleep, and up here as well. So that's the iPad in there with the sleeve on. Now, one other thing I want to point out is the end caps here have a slight slant on them, so that as the pad gets thicker with the cases, it just expands or uses different parts of this edge to grip onto the iPad. So now I can actually take this out and take the smart case off, put it back in, and I'm back to where I started, meaning that this case cradle will work for this iPad 2. So now it's a bigger gap through here, but because the case isn't on there, it's just gripping in a different spot on the cradle, but leaving all the ports exposed. So that's the iPad 2 with the smart case or without. Let's take a look at the iPad 1 in here with the Apple case that you can get, which is the fold-up Apple case that has that notch there in the back that lets you stand up the iPad. So this is probably one of the most common selling cases you could have got for the iPad 1. So first things first, let's whip her open and slot it into this case cradle. So you can see there, I need to push it in a bit because of the lip on this case, so it just grabs it a bit better because the case has that lip all the way around that just needs to be squashed in a bit with the cradle. But it's thick enough to hold it. So again, we can see there's the end connections, side, top, and other side. And again, I have my iPad 1 in this cradle while in the original Apple case. So it works really well with this case, which is fairly thick. You can see when actually in there, you can see how thick it actually is on one side and then how thin it is on the other, yet it holds it very secure. So the next thing I want to do is show you a few different cases on the iPad 1. Here I have a very thin but hard case made by Griffin, and then also have this more rubbery floppy one, which you can see how thick it is through here. Again, it's just more of a gripping case that just protects the back. So let's drop the iPad 1 into these cases, this way around, nope, this way. Okay, so this one here goes in like so, and it doesn't add much to the thickness. You can see it's a see-through one, but it's hard plastic, not a lot thicker than the iPad, but the beauty of it is, drop it in, and the iPad 1 holds in this case. Cradle. Again, it's because of that wedging shape, or the ability for this to just wedge in different points on the ends of the iPad, that it works so well. So I'll take this case off and change it out for the rubber one. So there we have it. I've got this other one on here, which is more of a silicone sticky one. And again, that just goes there, pops in, and not a problem. It's a little bit thicker. It sits in a bit higher in the cradle because it's a bit thicker case. But again, you can see without a case, with a case, iPad 2, iPad 1, thick case, thin case, this RAM-HOL-TAB3 cradle works really well universally across that size tablet, which is the iPad and iPad 2, or any sort of similar size tablets that will fit into this cradle. So there you go, that's the RAM-HOL-TAB3 or Tab Type 3 cradle in use with an iPad and iPad 2.